First off, we should probably introduce you.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you want to just tell us your name and what you do and how you got started.
Yeah, so my name is Dylan Brankovich. A lot of people think my name is Dylan. It's spelled, Dylan, but it's pronounced Dylan. My last name is Brankovich. I own 3 water, mold, and fire damage restoration franchises, one in San Diego, Orange County, and LA. I've been doing that for about 9 years, give or take. I got into that when I was about 29, 30 years old. I had a contractor's license, I wanted to get into more of a stable business in construction because, in 2009, 2008, during the recession, there wasn't a whole lot of work for contractors out there just because things were so bad. So I spent a lot of time working for different companies that, odd in carpenter jobs and stuff like that. And I ran into a couple of restoration companies that were having me do rebuilds, reconstruction, and I saw the dry out portion and the cleanup portion and stuff. And I got really just interested in that. And, a lot of the people that worked in that industry told me that insurance carriers paid for all this and they were never slow. So that's kind of how I got into it. Over time, I, looked at a couple different franchises and I ended up picking one called Rytech. And I have a business partner that came in with me. And we spent a good year and a half looking. And, we looked at Serv Pros, Service Masters. I think I talked to I think it was Paul Davis or Rainbow Restoration. These are all franchises that do water, mold, and fire damage. We picked Rytech. They were smaller. They weren't in California yet. We were actually technically the first Rytech franchise in California, which was what kind of drove me to them because it seemed like it was a great opportunity without having Serv Pros and Service Masters, who are the largest franchises in the country. They have very small territories. They're okay, hey, you get Carlsbad or you get, you get South San Diego, and there's just tons of them. And they're constantly working in each other's areas, and I believe it causes a little bit of friction between some of the business owners. Rytech, we had a much larger territory that was a little more luxurious. We just decided to kind of go with them, and we pulled that trigger. And even though they were smaller and less known, we still got right out the gates. We got hit with tons of work, more than we can imagine.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was we might do 5 or 6 jobs a month. We have 2 guys that are working for us. It's going to be more, maybe almost something that's passive income that we don't have to deal with, our guys can deal with. And all of a sudden, every day jobs are coming in. Dang. Yeah. So had to quit my job and do it full time.
Sick.
Yeah.
And then now it's 12 years later?
About almost 10. 10. We're about 9. Yeah.
9.
Yeah. So now we have 3 different franchises, and we've gone through having between 20 to 32 employees over the years. It's up and down. It's definitely grown.
Yeah.
And it's great. I feel really blessed, and I'm really grateful for it.
Yeah, the reason why you went into the store, so you're one of the customers, and that's usually how I meet a lot of people that come onto here.
Yeah.
Which was super cool, and we just started chatting, and I was like, you said that you did restoration. I was like, wait, my aunt does restoration. She does that some type of stuff, and I know it's a kind of a smaller community.
Absolutely.
And then of course you knew her, and that's super cool. So
yeah.
How what's the day to day for you?
So it's I am plugged in all day long, weekends, everything, because we are 24/7 emergency service. So I'm constantly plugged in, but a day to day for me, usually Monday through Friday, I'm up between 5:30, 6:30, and I'm in the shop at about 7:30 in the morning, and just lining out my guys. Normally I'm over in the San Diego store. I don't really have to go up north because I have ops managers up there that handle everything. But I'm there. I line out the guys. I kind of go through the schedule and just see what we have going on, what's on, if I have to shift certain guys at different jobs and stuff, because there's always a lot of things going on to where we have to pull people from other jobs or sometimes other stores to come help out. So I'm dealing with that in the morning. It's pretty hectic. And then And then usually I spend about a couple hours doing all my admin work. And then throughout the day, I'm just constantly getting phone calls. I probably get like 120 emails a day.
Yeah.
I mean, then I there's about 2 or 3 days out of the week I go to different jobs. I like to go sneak up on my guys and check up on them and, just see what's going on with all the quality control and everything.
Okay.
But yeah, just a lot of phone calls for the most part, like a lot of claims coming in. A lot of, we have a lot of billing that we have to do. So I'm constantly collecting money. And when I turn in an invoice to an insurance carrier, an adjuster is usually looking at it and picking it apart and wanting to not pay certain things.
Yeah.
So that is actually a lot of my time throughout the day.
Yeah.
Is like, okay, like how do we come to a happy medium? Or yes, I have pictures of documenting this and that. So it's a lot of like that. And that's most of my days dealing with that.
Yeah. And we should actually explain, like, because I know what it is.
Sure.
But like for people that don't, like, what exactly does your business handle?
So what we do is we do, like, whenever there's like a flood or a leak or a fire or mold, essentially mainly water damage. So what will happen is a customer, a homeowner, will file an insurance claim. They'll be like, oh my God, my water heater broke and I have water all over my garage. It went through my walls into my bathroom, into my kitchen. My floors are buckling. So when they have water damage, they always get concerned about mold. So what they normally do is they file an insurance claim, and a company like mine will come out, and what we will do is we'll assess the damage and basically look at what materials need to be removed, what can be saved and dried out, if there's any mold, if that needs to be cleaned. And so basically we'll do that. We will do the emergency service, the tear out and the dry out. What that consists of is, like, we set up containment barriers, and then we do the demolition so we don't damage any other contents or cross-contaminate the rest of the house. And we'll do the demolition, the cleaning, and then we'll dry out the building materials so there isn't any kind of secondary damage or mold later on.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're done. Then we build the job. We don't do the reconstruction. That's a different party. So that's basically like 90% of the stuff that we do is the mitigation. The other part of it is when we get a fire or smoke damage. And it's the same process. Somebody has, let's say somebody has a microwave blow up, and they may not have a whole bunch of fire everywhere, but it's just, flooded with smoke. We'll go through and we'll assess the situation, see what materials need to be removed, what can be saved, what can be cleaned, and we will mitigate that home and, get it to the point where they can go and put, drywall back, flooring, whatever it is. We'll do total loss inventory on contents. We'll tell you if your contents can be saved or not. So yeah, there's a lot of moving parts to it. It's essentially all the same.
Mm-hmm.
Same process, same kind of cleaning process and stuff. But we are billing insurance companies for it. They're normally filing claims for these things. And I mean, that's basically what we do.
And when you got started, was it like you and your partner doing the work, or since it was a franchise, did they like have a team already established, or how does that work?
No, you just basically the franchise, you just buy the franchise. They give you the name and you pay them. And they're like, you need to buy the trucks, the equipment, you need to find your people, you need to wrap it's everything. And they're all like that.
Damn.
They just give you the name and they're like, hey, we have this relationship with this insurance carrier and that insurance carrier. And they're going to send you work direct.
Yeah.
So, and we're like, okay, great. That's the beauty of buying into it, because you're not having to go out and find your own leads right away.
And it's the brand as well that comes with it, which is huge, right?
Correct. Yeah. You're like, okay, well, this is your brand name and this is a national brand name. So yeah, like you can go look them up and you can see like all the dots on the map and everything and carriers they work with. But yeah, they didn't really, they don't give you anything. They just, and that's most franchises. You have to pay for all of it. My partner was more of like a silent person. And yeah, in the beginning, like it was me and two other guys.
Wow.
I had one guy that was a carpenter that worked for my partner, and it was a friend of mine. Mm-hmm. We brought him on to Ride Tech, and then we hired another gentleman that was a little bit older that was in the industry for a long time. Yeah, I mean, they started going out and doing jobs, and I started helping them because we didn't have enough people to do the work.
Yeah.
So I was tearing out drywall, doing inspections, and I didn't really know what I was doing. You know, like it was weird. Like I remember walking into my first job, and I was so nervous.
Yep.
And I had this guy that worked for me, Lenny. He was a really nice guy, but I don't think like he was like as good as like he said he was.
Yeah.
And your aunt might even know him.
Oh, okay.
I think he works for one of the contents companies
Okay.
now. And he was a great guy. But like I walk into the job and like he was supposed to set up all the vans and all the equipment, and which he did. But so he didn't set up, like he had these moisture meters, and I see him taking it out of the box, unwrapping it out of the box at the customer's house. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, go do that outside, you know? Like, I was, luckily the guy was a really nice guy. But yeah, I was pretty nervous. And my second job I ever got, I'd figure I'd get these like small leaks, you know, random calls and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I get a phone call at 11 p.m. or email, I'm sorry. And it's a job in Chula Vista, and the whole entire house is flooded. It was like I had to have rain boots on in the house.
Wow.
Yeah, and I've never dealt with that before. So, and I had to go down there and check it out, you know. And I was just like, wow, this is crazy. And now I got to figure out how to deal with this.
Exactly. So that's a great point. So you go in, because I've been in situations like that where I'm like in something where I have no idea what I'm doing, but like you have to kind of just, this is my life. So. And I think that's a lot in business that I've realized, that all these businesses, it's regular people just figuring things out.
100%.
And it's laughable. It's like
it seriously is literally laughable. Like it's funny because I was talking to my friend last week about this situation where I'm like, hey, we're on this new account and we're like one of the best, like our scores are some of the best nationwide.
Wow,
with this account. And I'm like, and we're literally like a Mickey Mouse operation. Like there's so much nonsense going on, and like stuff with the employees and like little things that happen, these blown out tires we can't figure, like it's just like all this Mickey Mouse stuff. And I'm sitting there and I'm telling my friend this, I'm like, dude, I'm like up here at the top.
Yeah.
And like, and he's like, dude, he's like, there's companies out there that are, you know, that are doing 200 million a year.
Yep.
And it's the same thing. They look like they're all great, but there's all this Mickey Mouse stuff behind the scenes. Their bathrooms aren't working or whatever, or something like it's like something's really stupid, you know? And I'm just like, I guess so.
And that's so weird. I mean, especially with stores. So I'm in the clothing and everything. And when we first opened, I was assuming that like clothing stores, you go into a mall especially, and you're assuming that it's just like corporate and like big old stores that know what they're doing, but it's the same thing. It's just like, oh, we're out of toilet. Oh, the toilet's broken, or this and that, and the employee didn't show up, and it's just, again, it's laughable. Because at the end of the day, I mean, I'm not taking away from our businesses because we do a lot of work behind the scenes, and
100%.
we set high expectations, but at the same time, it's at any business, it's learning as you go and learning the ropes basically. So it's funny. It's really fun.
And sometimes you got to relearn stuff that you already learned. It's like, oh, I've made these mistakes. And then like you figure like, oh, I'm not going to get in that situation again. And 2 years later, you're like, wow, did I really just do that? You know, like and I'm guilty of that. So how did you get into your, what exactly, like what drove you into getting into your business, and like, what was like what were like the factors of all that? Yeah.
So my dad, he's been doing vintage for the past 30 years, like since the 90s. And I think like 2015 after high school, I was like, okay, I'm going to go to school, but I need something to do on the side. Yeah. So started doing markets with him. And it was fun, but he had his way of doing business. And I wanted to like kind of expand, or we kind of both on the same page, but I definitely wanted to expand not doing markets for the rest of my life, of like flea markets and stuff like that, or like these type of shows. Yeah. And I wanted something a little more stable and to grow the vintage side, because vintage started getting trendy like the past like 5 years.
For sure it did, yeah.
And like 10 years ago, he started doing or I think it was like 12 years ago now, started doing upcycling, which is basically getting old clothing and like revamping them. So dyeing, resizing, all that stuff. And it was doing really well, especially like in markets in LA, San Francisco. So I was going back and forth with all these things. I knew we had a market. And the thing is with vintage, it was always, or if like you think of vintage, you sometimes think of like a thrift store. Everything's kind of mixed around, kind of disorganized. And I hated that. And I always wanted to make it more organized and feel like a actual store. So 2021, just there's leases available, jumped over in Temecula to open that store. And just been doing that. My sister jumped on board as well. So my sister's more of the operations. I'm more of just like doing like the behind the scene, like payroll, like the business stuff and like all that. So it's just been like a journey of trying to really grow the business, and also like Christmas sweaters. Like we jumped into that, and now it's like more of the pop-up vibe. Yeah. So it's just like learning as we go and like seeing what makes the most sense. And vintage is tough too, because everything's one of a kind. So like the inventory system is tough, and like the online is like a whole different monster. Yeah. So it's really just trying to like understand what we want to do, and like what's like the 30-year plan of like how does this grow. Yeah. So it originally started with my dad, and now it's just popping up and doing different shops and stuff.
That's awesome.
So
that's great. Yeah, man. I mean, dude, you go and you find your niche of the things that you're into, and I mean, and it seems like you're passionate about it, and you enjoy fashion and the vintage clothing. I mean, that stuff. I mean, it's sick. I mean, I love it, man. I was last night. I went to a Christmas party, and I had these burgundy reddish pants on. Yeah. And everyone's like, those are so sick. Are they corduroys? I'm like, no. I'm like, are they jeans? I'm like, no, I don't really know what kind of material. I'm like, I bought them at a thrift store. Yeah. I was like, I just, I've been like, that's that style, like if you can rock it and like wear it with style and like add things to it. Like it could look very good, just like that vest I bought. That's how we met. You know, I came in there, I bought that vest, and like I knew I wanted to go get the tie, and I came back and I was like, I want, like, those are all like, there were so many of, that's like what I was looking for. Yeah. And there were so many of them. I almost got like overwhelmed. I'm like, oh, I want this one, I want that one. And, I couldn't make a decision. Yeah. Yeah. And but it's funny, like I was trying to look as creepy as I can when I was going to this party, because it was an ugly Christmas sweater party. Yeah. And I walk in and like all the girls are like, wow, you look the best.
Yeah,
like,
buddy.
And I was like, really? I was like, are you serious? So like, it was just kind of funny, dude. Like, I was like, all right, well, I guess that worked. I had this, like, I went to I go to a cigar shop every Friday.
Oh, I love cigars. That's
dude,
awesome.
Dude, I love them. I go to the one over, I don't know if you've been to the one off Veracruz in San Marcos. It's interesting. It's got some really interesting walks of life there. I've met a lot of interesting people of all age groups. You have like politicians in there. It's weird. Wow. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, dude, it's honest. It's a really good, actually, networking place, to be honest. But I go in there and I'm like, hey, I want to buy one of those tobacco pipes. And like, I've never smoked one of those before in my life, and it was like $80. I was like, wow,
like the ones expensive. That, like,
old school.
I got one of those in like high school. I was like, oh,
yeah. You think like, I mean, people usually get them for weed or whatever, you know. But this, like, and so I got the tobacco, and I was like walking around smoking that all night. It was just funny. So, but I had a good time. But yeah, man, I mean, the vest was sick. It was exactly what I wanted.
Hell so
I was super stoked that I found your store. But yeah, man, I mean, vintage stuff is sick, dude. I like it. I mean, I'll roll into, what's that place called? Urban Outfitters. Mm-hmm. And I'll look for stuff that's like more vintage looking. It might be like newer or whatever, but I'll see like a random like band shirt, like a Misfits shirt or a Slayer shirt. I'm really into that, like that punk rock, heavy metal type music. So I'll usually like try to get my hands on something like that. I like all that stuff. So it's sick, man.
Awesome. And going over back to you of like what was originally like when you were 18, 19, 20? Yeah. Like, what was the goal for you? And like, did you see yourself doing what you're doing now?
Well, I kind of have a weird backstory. Okay. But when I was like at that age, I was kind of like am I allowed to cuss on here?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was a piece of shit.
Really?
Yeah. So I had major problems with alcohol, drugs, like, cocaine, just other random, ecstasy, whatever it was. And I partied a lot. So I didn't really have a vision or a goal. I just wanted to party all the time. And it got so bad to the point where I was a carpenter at the time, and I wasn't showing up to work. And everybody kept hiring me again because they knew like I was a hard worker when I was there, and that if I was there, I'd do a good job, and I had skills. Like they saw the potential. But I didn't really have a goal. Wasn't really like driven. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was just trying to like, literally like get a paycheck and then go out and party on the weekend and spend all that and end up in Mexico or something. When I was 21, I got sober, and things just got really bad. And I've actually been sober now. Not next month. In February, it will be 18 years.
Wow.
That I haven't used alcohol or drugs. So I've been completely sober. But when that happened, I didn't see a future of anything. Like I tried different things. I tried carpentry and like I was doing telemarketing at one point, which I hated. I tried to get into real estate, like just things that like didn't really require an education. And then eventually, like when I got sober, I found motivation and, like I started training jiu-jitsu. I started working out a bunch. And then I got a little more career oriented. Like I, started becoming better at my job, got a contractor's license at a pretty young age. I was like 25 or 26, and those aren't easy to get, like going and getting a building contractor's license was not, most guys that age are not, usually people in their 30s or 40s are doing that. It's a lot of work to do it. But yeah, I just wanted like a different life. I guess the realization point for me was, when I was about 21, I had a couple DUIs, and I had to go to jail for like a weekend. Mm-hmm. That was like my sentencing or whatever. And my parents and my grandparents are from a different country. They're from Serbia, Yugoslavia. And I was sitting in my cell, and at that point, my grandmother, who brought my whole family, and I was born here, but my parents were not. They were born in Serbia. I was reflecting in my cell and thinking about like my grandmother, and she was, she passed away at the time, but I was like, what would she think of me sitting here in this cell? She sacrificed everything. Her family sacrificed everything to come here, left their country. They knew nobody. They couldn't speak any English. They didn't really have any skills, and to give us a better life. And I'm sitting here rotting away in a fucking cell. Mm-hmm. Like, and that, I guess at that point of my life, I was like, I need to do something. I need to like go out and, be better at my job and then expand from there. Eventually I wanted to have my own thing. I wanted to do better. I wanted to build something. I didn't want to just work for somebody and just be a 9-to-5 guy. It just wasn't me,
Yeah.
So I guess that's when I started to realize it at about my early 20s, But it took time, man. It took money and finding money. I only had like $5,000 in my bank account when we opened the business, and I had to go find loans. And somehow I did it, lived off of credit cards, just, that whole entire grind. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Would you say like your why is always going back to that point when you were in that cell, or like what would you say is your overall why?
Of why I did what I've done?
Yeah, like now, like why, like what motivates you? Like what's pushing you? Is it that thought of your grandma?
Yes and no. I mean, that of course motivates me, but I mean, and I'm not, I wouldn't say I'm motivated by like money or anything, but just, I don't know, it's weird like that, but also like, I like accomplishing things, and I like giving, and it's almost like I am motivated to have a certain life that I want to live, and I don't like, I guess like when I wasn't sober and I had nothing and people wrote me off and didn't want to be around me, and I had no money, barely had a place to live, like that. I would say that point, like thinking about my grandmother and being able to be in this country and being grateful for being in this country and also not wasting my life away, I would say that is my biggest motivation, is to go out and do better and to make the best of it. Mm-hmm. And but yeah, I mean, I would say that was my driving factor. And there was also, like, there's a little voice in my head, like throughout my life, I've always had people tell me that I cannot do certain things. Oh, you can't run a business. You're not smart enough to run a business. You'll never be able to follow through and go do Brazilian jiu-jitsu or get a black belt. You'll never be able to like accomplish this in fitness. Like, I've had a lot of people in my life tell me these things, and that's something in the back of my head that drives me as well, is knowing, or not knowing, but having something say that I can't do something, and then I go and do it and just accomplish these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, I feel, I was just listening to this podcast. Have you heard of that guy? I actually don't even know his name, but it was talking about like for success, or like especially for business, is like having that, like, one of the things he said was like unconditional love from a parent or something. And then another one was like that why factor of like something that you just think about all the time, or something that just really almost scarred you in a sense, that's like really pushing you. So it's interesting to hear. And that's awesome that you've gotten this far. You've done so much. So
yeah, I've tried. I've done my best. Yeah. I mean, it's the why factor. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's for me. There, like in my head, like I'm constantly just like, I just don't ever want to give up. Like I never give up on things. It's very rare. It's very the only thing I've really given up on my life and broken a pattern on is alcohol and drugs, and that's because it wasn't doing anything good for me. So like, but everything else, it's like, I just never give up. I mean, just keep grinding and going for it. Like, don't just roll over. There's so many people that just are complacent with things, and they're like, I'm okay with just being here and doing this for the rest of my life. Like, why would you want to wake up and have that, and just think about that? Oh, I'm an accountant or whatever. I work for this company here, and like, I'm okay with my same paycheck that I'm going to get for the next 20, 30 years, and just do the same thing over and over. Maybe I'll have a weekend. Maybe I'll go fishing on the weekend. Like, I want more than that, and I've created more for that. I've manifested it. I've manifested so many things that I haven't even realized. Like, I've reflected back in the day, like where I've been, like, I remember like 12 years ago, I was manifesting that I would have some type of business, like in this area, like in Carlsbad. Like, I would have an office here. I don't know what I was going to be doing, but I was going to be doing it. And I was not going to be a carpenter anymore. I wouldn't have to wake up in the morning and be at a job site at 6:45 in La Jolla, and be stuck out there, like, with my tool bags on, work. I mean that's great and all. People like doing that, but for me, I saw more. Mm-hmm. And the weird thing is like, it actually happened, and I didn't even realize it. Like, I went and I rented a building, and I had the business there, and it took a while for me to even realize, like, wow, I manifested this like so many years ago, and it actually happened. It's weird. It's powerful.
I asked my dad this because I was working with him a lot back in like 2015 to 2020. And he had like a warehouse, so you go with him, go to LA, pick up merchandise, all this and that. And in LA, you see like a lot of, people that aren't doing so well. And it seems sometimes that like they're okay not doing well, And I asked him, I was like, why? Like, why are some people just not wanting more or doing more to get more? Obviously there's some circumstances that people can't control and stuff. But like, talking about that point of like, why is it some people have this drive or want something more in life? Like, what do you think that is? Is it just
of why that people maybe don't want more and don't have the drive? Like, are you talking about like people maybe that are homeless people and stuff, or
it could be homeless, or just people that don't have the drive, or like don't.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how to explain it because I don't want to put us like in a
category or box.
I don't want to say
for
that,
sure,
but
for sure.
it's like,
yeah. I mean, honestly,
because so I'll give you his answer. His answer was like, they don't have goals, they don't have dreams.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's okay not to have dreams. Like, it's okay to. Again, I don't want to. It sounds like kind of lame. It sounds kind of lame.
It's okay not to have a dream. You know,
Yeah.
You could go and do nothing. And be happy.
But yeah, some people are like cool with like just whatever. Like the day to day of like for. I guess I could just speak for myself. Like, I want something huge. I want to do something amazing. I at first it was all about experiences. I wanted just to like experience everything. I still do. I want to like know what it's like to. Fly in a private jet or just do something crazy or like do experiences, and I know it's not like just dreaming of it and waiting for it to happen. It's more like taking action, right? But now it's transitioned into like, now that I'm getting older, is like I want to do something sick, like for the world, I want to like do some crazy cool stuff. I'm like inspired by like, which was one of my questions of like entrepreneurs that you look up to, but like of course like Elon Musk for myself, or like Steve Jobs, or just these people that like really bring a product or something so cool to the world that it just transforms it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And sometimes people, I don't like, why is that? Why is it that some people just, dream big or?
Yeah. No. I mean, look, I completely like just like what you're saying. You would love to see what it's like to be in a private jet, or like. Or even like there's little things that motivate us. Like I wanted to get an M3, BMW M3 my whole entire life. And like, I was like, I want that car. That's the best car ever. Like I drove one when I was 19 years old. And then I finally bought one when I was 30, I think I was 32 or something. And like, it's these little things and these little goals. And I don't like, I would say like, I think everybody, it doesn't matter who you are and what you do. You can be somebody that is homeless and has nothing. I think everybody has certain goals, but to their standards.
Yeah. Okay.
And like, it's like, okay, like there's a guy that lives on the streets and, like in his life, just kind of like how my situation was when I used to party, I just wanted to drink. That's what, for me, like my goal was just the party. And then that guy there, his goal is to go do heroin. Mm-hmm. And that's what he's going to do. That's what he's going to strive to. He's going to do anything to get there. He's literally going to go rob, shoot, steal, kill, whatever he needs to do to go get that one high. Mm-hmm. And like, it's like everybody has these goals, but it's to what standard they are. If it's somebody that, let's say, is just a person that doesn't want, like, that wants to work in a warehouse and not talk to anybody or do anything and just get paid $40,000 a year or whatever a minimum salary is for that. Maybe they just want to go and to them, they don't want to really do anything. Their goal is to be comfortable and not have to go through hardships, because there's possibly like in their lifetime, whatever they went through, whatever struggles they went through, maybe they don't want to be uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And then if they have to branch out and do other things that make them uncomfortable to achieve better goals, that's something that they're not willing to go through. I think a lot of people are scared and they're just complacent. And in this country, like, we can do that. We can get away with doing nothing and have a comfortable life. It's like you can go get roommates and not make a whole bunch of money and still like eat well and like have security. If you go get hurt, if you go, fall over or get into an accident or I don't know, some kind of injury, you can go to the hospital, you can get health care, you can get clean, good health care. It's just, I think it's where we're at, and people are just not that hungry as, if like, let's say somebody from a different country came over here. Like, have you heard of Francis Ngannou, the
UFC guy?
Yeah, he's like
he was like working in the mines or something.
Yeah,
and then like
UFC champion, heavyweight champion. Yeah. Then he goes and fights Tyson Fury, and he lost the fight. On the judges' scorecards, but everyone thinks he won it. Mm-hmm. Imagine like what that guy had to go deal with and what drove him to become the best and to become the best heavyweight, to go out there and fight the best boxer without ever having a boxing match. Like, it's like whatever he went through in his life made him strive for these much greater goals, you know? So I think everyone's got goals. I just think to a standard.
Yeah, I know. I love that. So two things. Well, there was so many things that went through my head. I was like, I want to ask him this. But the first one was going to be the goals. I never thought about that. It is all environment, right? Like
100%.
it's all like, if you're in a place where the goal is just to get a comfortable job or to get something, then that's their ultimate goal, and hell yeah for them, you know. But maybe it's setting, and that's a cool thing with like social media and the internet, is that we can then tap into like this network where you can be inspired to do more and have this environment where your goals are set to another the next step, right?
Sure.
And I think we definitely need more of that, because that's something I always think about, is that everyone has the same mind, right? Like we have the same mind as like Einstein, Elon Musk. I mean, like sometimes there's a little more, gifted.
Of course.
But for the most part, there's nothing separating them from us. We're all human, and we can all do amazing, amazing shit.
100%.
And it really bugs me, but I like that you said that, is that it's all about that environment, and that's their goal. But like, it bugs me sometimes seeing people not living to that full potential of what they can provide,
Absolutely.
And it really bugs me.
It's insane. I see people that are so that and like honest and like some and like and we all have, like, there are things that we can do and be better at. Everybody has things that they can be better at that they don't live up to the potential of what they can do, like it's weird. Like somebody can be running a really successful business and they let's say they make cabinets or something, and they're so good at doing this, and they make a whole bunch of money and whatever, have the cars, houses. It's created a great life for them, but like they might be like unfit, maybe they're overweight, maybe they have issues with diabetes or something like that because they didn't take care of themselves, and it's like, well, but like, you're an athlete in college or in high school or whatever. Like, I don't understand how that didn't translate into your everyday life. There's people just set like their standards of certain goals that they want to get to, and then they tend to push other things off where they waste the potential in something else. And I think a lot of people do that. I would say people would probably said the same thing about me. Like I'm pushing forward to do really well in my business and take care of myself, and fitness is a huge thing for me that drives me. But could I have gone and like competed in like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world championships and done well in that? I don't know, like I didn't push myself to go into that, because it wasn't, to me at that time, it wasn't something that was important to me. But you're right. But there are people that go and waste their life that have great potential to do so much more. Like, I have so many friends I went to high school with that were like so athletic and smart and just witty, and like they just don't really want to do anything. They don't really want to work, Like, I know guys that will go and get random jobs selling fucking towels or something, It's like, oh, I'm like doing this, or I got a job like flipping burgers, or I'm like working for this startup, and there's no follow through, Like, it's like maybe the potential's there, but the follow through isn't there. Maybe they're not being held accountable by certain people,
And I love that point that you said earlier, was that we live in a world that's very comfortable.
Yeah.
It's very like, and think about that. Like, you break your arm, it's not like in a different country where they don't have the ability to revive you.
Yeah.
Like, you just fucking lose your arm.
Yeah.
Versus here, it's like you go to the hospital, they can't turn you away.
Yeah.
Right. And boom, you're okay. So it's that comfortability and having that maybe more consequences.
Yeah. I mean, even with a business, like look at it. Like it's so crazy. Like, you can go start a business and get all these loans and get in all this debt and like, file for bankruptcy and just say, fuck it, I'm done. I'm not paying anybody. I can't do this. I'm done. And you're fine. Like, versus like, what if you were in a different country? What if you got money from a loan shark? What if somebody like, like, I think about that all the time. I'm like, imagine going and borrowing money from like people that are in the mafia.
The mafia.
Yeah, and then they go and fucking kill you. You know, like that doesn't happen.
You'll be finding ways to make money at that point.
Exactly. That doesn't happen. So that drive gets diminished. You know, like you don't. It's not like, and I'm not saying everybody's like that, but there's just certain people that they know that, they see that, and like, and you can fail and not have major consequences, especially like in America. You know, like it's insane. Like we're just like anybody can go do anything. Like you can literally like I don't know. But you're right. Like it's, there just isn't, the consequences aren't as great as it could be. There's just so many loopholes and ways to get out of trouble. And then you have people that aren't driven. They don't want to do anything. They're too comfortable. Like, I don't want to do that. Maybe they're the smart ones. I don't know.
No, that's funny. Yeah, that's smart ones. Yeah, because we do. I mean, business is stressful, right? And that was actually going to be one of like the segues was like life balance for you. How's that? Because I remember you talking to me when we met at the store about traveling and wanting to do that. And that's actually one of the things I was like, I have to have him on the podcast because that's something I've been thinking about too. Like I'm ending my 20s soon, and I'm like, I just heard you want to travel in your 20s and get that over with, or just travel in general when you're young. So like, how is that for you, life-work balance and traveling too?
So my work-life balance, I felt like I've really figured that. I mean, I don't want to say I've figured it out, but like I know what I want in my daily life and like my personal life and everything. And I've really, really worked on that very hard, regardless of like whether if I was struggling with money or not. It's very important to constantly like have relationships with people and to do things that you still enjoy and not be 24/7 just grinding, just focusing on that, because then that just becomes your identity. That just becomes you. It's like important to go out and like for me, like I said a few times, like the fitness part of my life, like I'm super involved in with fitness communities that I know people. I've met some of my best friends through there. I've met a lot of like-minded people through there, healthy people that have a positive outlook on life, that have goals that are goal-oriented because they already have that passion in fitness. And then just having groups of friends to at least hang out with every now and then, and spend the weekend with. Like nothing's better than working all week and having a rough week, and then going through and like having a group of friends that understand, that know, that are like-minded like you, that you can like go hang out with and share a meal with, or go do something funny with and have like some laughs, because that stuff like that is it's so powerful for your soul. And when you don't have it, I feel like when I didn't have it many years ago, when a lot of my friends were married and had kids, and I was working so much, I didn't have that I missed it, and like there was something missing inside. So like it's important to go through and to create that and make time for it. However, like whatever it takes, like whatever time that you can put aside for it, it's just important to like do it. And with the traveling, I didn't travel for years, and what I noticed, it was something that was diminishing to my character. When I would talk to people, new people, they'd ask me like, where have you been? Like, have you gone out of the country? It's like, no. It's like, what do you really know about life then? Like, oh, you run a business and this and that, like, but you've been to Mexico, you've been to TJ? Well, okay. Yeah. Like you don't get the taste of different cultures and what's going on in other parts of the world that can help you become a better person, a better entrepreneur, a better business owner. And if you go to a third world country and you spend a lot of time over there, I mean, you're going to have a better sense of what you don't have, what you have here and what they don't have out there. I mean, that's the way I see it. Mm-hmm. But even like, I don't know, like there's other places too. Like I went to Japan spontaneously.
That's sick.
And that was a trip, like I was like, wow, this kind of looks like New York. I went to Tokyo, kind of looks like New York. Like they don't have any trash cans anywhere. Like it's really clean. The food's really good. It's like, I don't know, man. I mean, it just builds your character, You know, it just makes you, it builds your identity, and it's important. You know, I mean, there's people out there that travel a lot, but I mean, it's important to go every couple times a year. I would think.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where have you been? Have you been anywhere? Or?
No. So that's funny when you were saying, like, when people say, "Oh, where have you been?" That's me. I haven't really gone anywhere besides Mexico.
Yeah.
Been a few places in Mexico, but just places in the States, really.
Sure.
But next year, I'm planning like February, March, just to do a final, because I've been trying to do this since I was 18. Just Southeast Asia, like Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand.
I love it. Oh my God.
And then I actually have a buddy in South Korea. I don't know. That's not considered Southeast Asia, is it? No, right?
I'm not really sure.
No.
My geography's off.
I don't think so, but it's in that area, but I don't know. But yeah, I have a buddy in South Korea, and when I travel, I like to just party and have fun.
Yeah.
So gonna go with him and just have a good time. But finally, just getting it out of the way. You know? But I like what you said. Like every 2 years, or luckily with the businesses, if we continue this pop up, it's like more of like a seasonal thing. You know.
Sure.
So we'll have time, me and my sister, to go do our own thing in like the dead months, January through April. So hopefully I can start traveling way more and get that experience.
Dude, it's nice, man. It's nothing. There's nothing better than coming home and coming back to everything that you know and that you're comfortable with. But like, man, like just like when you reflect and look back, I remember in 2019, I never traveled so much in my life. It was just like, it was literally the best year of my life. It just added, like, I don't know. I can't explain what it does. And you just know when you feel it, you just know, like, it just adds to your character. And it's just like, when you're able to reflect and be like, oh wow, I do have a good life. Like, I went here, I went there, I did this, I did that, you know, like I'm traveling, I'm meeting people. It's making me more, I want to go see this place over here. I want to go see something tropical. I've seen Eastern Europe. I've seen Asia. I want to go to, I don't know, Greece or something. Not, well, that's Eastern Europe, but I want to go somewhere tropical, like Bora Bora, or like an island. I don't know, and that's like I haven't really. And I'm kind of speaking from my experience, is like that's what I want to go see next. Like I want to go to like Fiji or something like that. I want to go to somewhere that doesn't have a whole lot of people, that I can just chill and relax on a beach and decompress.
Okay.
You know, like that's where my head's at right now, and that's my next goal, is to go out and do something like that. You know,
I was talking to do you have any mentors, like people that you spoke with?
I've had in the past. I don't have any any mentors like now, but I do have. I mean, I have friends that are very successful in business that I can go to and talk to and stuff.
Awesome. Yeah.
And I guess I consider them a mentor. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I was taking a workshop class on like data stuff, and one of the things that popped up was this website called Score.
Okay.
Super cool. It's like a national online thing where you can just find a mentor.
Yeah.
So I had always been looking for a mentor, and it wasn't until last year where I found this thing, and I just hopped on and I found a few people that are just awesome, really successful in business. And one of the things he said is, like when you're working in a business, it's 24/7, doesn't turn off, but you have to have that time to decompress. Like when you were saying about traveling and sitting on the beach or whatever, and just finally relaxing. What is like your like weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly thing that you do to decompress? Like for me, it's like Big Bear.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I love Big Bear. Go
snowboarding?
No, I haven't snowboarded yet, but I just go for the weekend.
Nice.
You know, and it's just, I literally sit there at a cabin, or whether it's Big Bear, Joshua Tree, or just something random.
That's amazing.
And it's so nice. You just sit there and don't do nothing. And then the thing is with me though, I have like the social media stuff that I like to do.
Sure.
So then I'll just go on my phone and just like start making some videos or something random, which is super relaxing for me.
100%.
Like, what is it for you?
I mean, the funny thing is, you mentioned Joshua Tree. Is how good does it feel when you like? Because I've been there, and I've had, we've gotten Airbnbs there, and I've spent weekends. It feels amazing to go out in the morning and have a coffee, sit out in the backyard. Yeah. And it's like there's not a lot of sound. Yeah. And like it's weird. It's almost like this just even with the heat and like with the scenery out there, like there's something just so comforting. It's almost like vibrations to like your brain. Like it's insane. Like I love going, and same with Big Bear. It's the same thing, just being in nature, like being out there and just absorbing all that. And it's probably one of the best decompressing you can do. Like, you've got it down, dude. I mean, that's crazy.
Well,
I love that.
And burning out, like, how do you avoid burning out? Do you burn out?
I burn out all the time.
Yeah. So, like, what is, like, your method of, like, revamping? Because when I come back, like, I just got back this weekend from Big Bear, and I was burnt out. I was like, fuck this. I don't want to do this anymore. But then you come back, and you're like, let's fucking go. I'm behind. Let's do this. Yeah. So, like, what is it for you?
I mean, for me, I decompress. I have to decompress every day. And for me, it's mainly the fitness. Like, when I roll into the gym, or if I go train jiu-jitsu, or if I go do hot yoga or whatever, that I'm not dealing with that. Yeah, my phone will go off here and there, and I have to deal things at times, but most of the time, like, that's not the priority. It's like going in there and training, and I enjoy it so much that I forget about what I'm dealing with, whether I got to make payroll, whether I got to go pay for something that's been damaged, that one of my guys, fucked up or something, or I've got an issue with a couple of guys that can't get along, or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. That decompression, that daily decompression for me helps me. It helps me so much.
That's awesome.
Because I'll spend like 90 minutes in there, and I'll be like, okay, like, I'm over here. These are other goals that I've set. Like, I want to hit PRs in lifting. I want to do this CrossFit workout. I want to get my heart rate up this high, and I want to be able to, like, I want to be able to go and have pizza after that, or whatever, and like a half a pizza, a full pizza, or whatever. I want to train really hard. Or if I go into jiu-jitsu, like, I can go in there. Like, I can't have my phone with me or anything with me. I'm just training. It's just me and my opponent, that I'm sparring with. And that stuff has really helped me decompress and keep myself level, because I'm not working. I'm not doing anything. I'm doing something for myself. And that would be like my daily thing.
That's nice.
Yeah.
It's like a daily thing.
Yeah.
Does it get to the point, though, like, where it's like a month in, and it's just, that's your routine daily? Do you have to go somewhere else, or is that good enough for you?
No, like, I have, like, the cigar shop stuff that I do. I'll go do that on Fridays.
Cigars are so amazing.
I love it, man. I love it. And then I have, like, my weekends, like, with my friends that help out. We go out, we have laughs, we go out and get food, and go to a movie. Like, I'll go, like, every month. I'll go to I'll usually try to go to see, like, a movie on a Thursday night with one of my buddies, phones off, just certain little tiny things. And they're not always, like, completely routine. But there are little tiny things that just keep me human.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's other getaways and stuff. Like, I'm going to Big Bear in January to go snowboard.
Yeah.
So I can't wait for that. That's exciting. So yeah,
that was funny when you said about Joshua Tree just getting a coffee in the morning. So I started doing that too, where it's just like you sit outside and you just, like, sit there, and just, like, I was like, I get old people now.
Yeah.
Really, it makes sense. Like,
seriously,
it's just so nice.
Just absorb, dude. It's like you just sit there and you could be doing something. You can be over there creating content, or working, or watching videos, or, like, you could be doing stuff and working on stuff, but, like, you don't have any distraction around you. Mm-hmm. It's just that. And, like, when I was there last time, like, I couldn't, I just sat there, and I was, like, talking to my friend Mike that I was with. I was like, man, I literally feel like almost like there's humming in my ears. Yeah. Like you get that tingle to where it's like, I'm so relaxed. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't ever get this, like, I don't know. I used to do acupuncture a lot.
Okay.
And I did it once a week, but it cost a lot of money. It was like $100 a session. Oh, wow. So I spent $400 a month on it. And I initially did it because I was getting severe tension headaches, and I get vertigo and ringing in my ears and stuff, just from stress. So, but when I would do it, the lady would put all the pins in, like, in my forehead and in my temples, and then she would do, like, this weird Reiki type thing. She didn't even touch me, but she was, like, doing this like
I know what you're saying. I feel like I've felt that. It's like this, and you can kind of feel that.
You can.
It feels like it's
you almost mean their fingertips or something
yeah,
like that.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like really weird.
Yeah.
It's like reeky, but it's not. I don't know. But she would do this to me. I'd spend an hour every Wednesday. I would do it, like at 2:00 or 1:00 or something, and I would fall asleep, and it was just it felt amazing. I don't know.
Sorry, I'm writing down notes of like what I'm thinking of, so I can like come back to you.
For sure.
Why don't you do it anymore?
Oh well, the real reason was there was a couple of different times where she left a needle in my head. And I was like driving, and I'm like fucking I'm like, what the fuck is this?
That's so dangerous.
Yeah, I was like, are you serious? And then she did it again, and I told her, and I was like, hey, you left it like pins in my head twice.
It's so scary.
It's like, yeah, it happens. You have a lot of hair. And I guess it's a common thing.
Oh my
God. But now like it's like I'm going over it. Now I'm going in there and I'm thinking about it. So therefore that's defeating the purpose of my decompression. It's making me worried about something else.
Yeah.
You know? So now I'm worried about getting fucking needles left in my head. So like now I'm not going, you know?
Yeah.
So I stopped. You know, and it was expensive. I mean, $400 a month is like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I find someone different and do it once a week or something, or once a month or something. So
for business, what do you think there's like the misconceptions of, or the misconceptions are of owning a business?
I think there's a lot of them. I think a lot of people think that it's easy. I don't think like an entrepreneur is not. It sounds great and it sounds awesome, and it's just like, oh, I can use this as a label for myself. And I don't think that people realize, depending on what type of business you're in, I don't think they know the effort that you have to put into it. Like it doesn't just, you can't just turn it off and go back to it later on. It's always there. And if you don't handle whatever problems you have in it, it could have major repercussions for your health, for your financial stability. You know, if you get into a business like mine, the amount of money that you have to float, and people just think that there's like an endless bank account to these businesses, and this is not the truth at all. Like everybody's constantly struggling. Like they're like, a friend of mine told me that a business is like a trash can that has a fire in it. You're just throwing money inside of it, dollar bills, whatever it is, you know, like it just gets burnt. It's like, why would anybody want to burn money?
Yeah.
Why would anybody ever want to waste that? But that's what it
feels
does.
like it. Yeah.
And like, I just don't, until you actually get into it and experience it, it's always going to there's always going to be a misconception of like, oh yeah, this is like something that's really easy. And then it's just running and I can go do whatever the fuck I want. You know, it's like, that's absolutely not the truth. And that's how a lot of my workers feel, you know, like I had a guy that, he walked into a bedroom when it was raining, and it was raining outside. He had mud on his shoes. You're supposed to put booties on, and he walked into a bedroom that wasn't even affected by water. He went to go use a bathroom, and he completely fucked the carpet up.
Yeah.
It cost me $4,000 to replace that carpet. $4,000. And I'm like, dude, how would you feel about this? It's like, well, if I had a business, I would just like save for things like this. And I'm like, seriously?
Yeah.
That's your answer? $4,000? Like you think that there's just an endless bank account full of money that can just pay for this stuff? A small business? You know, maybe if you work for, you know, I don't know, like a union company or something, or a company that's doing $100 million a year, but a business that has 20 employees, that's small, you know, that's a mom and pop business.
Yep. Like
that's a lot of money for them. So yeah, I mean, I would say that people just don't realize that there isn't an endless bank account that can just be drawn out of. I mean, you know this, you know, it's like you got budgets. I mean, you know, there's, you know, sometimes you just can't spend money on stuff, and sometimes you have to spend money on things that like you don't want to, and like it's literally like you just don't have a choice. You know, it's like you're a slave to it. It's weird.
No, that was funny because, like, let's say, I mean, I don't know how you are with. I'm not gonna ask you, but like with numbers and stuff, like when people ask, I'm very like no, that's my business. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
But when I first started, it's like, oh, I'm making X amount. But then it's like, no, you're not making X amount because like X is going to payroll. And then X is going to this and that, and like there's so much like what you were saying of 100%. That dumpster fire of like, or like a trash can of fire is like you're just throwing in there, and it just feels like, what the hell am I doing?
100%. People fucking are just they just don't know, you know. Like it's like, oh well, you did this $5,000 job, we were on it for one day. I'm like, yeah, great, we netted 70% on it.
Yeah.
But do you think I'm gonna just put that money in my pocket and walk away with it? No. How about the other jobs that you guys went negative on?
Yep.
I mean, it all like it's never what it seems like. Like, you know, like I had a guy tell me, we did a large job that was like 65 grand. And I had a guy tell me, he's like, you made out like a bat out of hell with that job. Like you made so much money. I'm like, how the fuck do you know? Like there's no like I'm like, yeah, I mean, we spent like X amount of time on it, but like, what about like all the other additional things, like, you know, the people in the office, the gas, you know, the repairs on the, like, we drove down to Coronado 12 different times from Vista to Coronado to this job. Like maybe that fucked my box truck up, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's just, I mean, people are funny. If they never owned it, if they never owned one, never dealt with it, and never actually, you know, they see the bottom line, they see the numbers, and they're like, oh, well, you made that much. Like, oh, you had 500 grand left at the end of the year. It's like, that doesn't mean that's in the bank account, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know that.
No, yeah, it's...
Yeah.
Bank is always like,
Yeah. It's like, oh, it says your business made 500 grand this year. It's like, really? Because that's not in my bank account.
Yep. No, it's so funny. Like end of the month, it's like, oh yeah, and then like first of the month, it's just like this roller coaster in your bank account.
It's very emotional. Yeah.
Is there any entrepreneurs that you look up to, or?
Yeah, I mean, there are. I have friends of mine. The entrepreneurs that I look up to, like, I don't really look up to like any large commercial ones that like are out there. Like I try to like be more relative with the people that are more on my level, that I can learn from more, because I know like they're on a scale like that is on like my size, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And like I look up to, like, I have a friend of mine, and I don't want to say his name, but I mean, he's a great guy, and he does really, really well. He owns a digital marketing company, and looking up to him and seeing what he's done and talking to him about stuff, like he really opened my eyes with a couple of different things a few years ago. Like when I was talking to him about his business, like he would just show me, like, you know, like the accounts and like what he's doing and what he's making and all this. And I was like, well, like, how does it work with your business? He's like, well, you know, it's a reoccurring transaction. And I was like, wow. Like, cause I have to wait for my money.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I literally, like, I won't get paid on stuff for like sometimes a year. Sometimes I have to lien homes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like all the time. I have to go to court, you know,
wow. That's a whole,
yeah,
the whole
yeah. It's a pain in the ass. And like, and you know, like I look up to him because he does so well, and he found a way to literally it's just every month it's a reoccurring transaction.
What does that mean? Like, what do you mean by that? Like a reoccurring transaction?
So like he has a digital marketing company, and he markets for gyms,
mm-hmm.
and they pay him monthly. So whatever, you know, however many accounts he has, or he gets accounts, or he brings in new ones. I mean, if you got 2,000 accounts and they're all paying you $500 a month every month.
Yeah, I see.
I mean, wow.
Yeah. Wow. That's great.
What do you do with that? You really have I mean, dude, it's just, I mean, and like it's made me think of what else can I do? Like I want, like one thing that if I was ever going to sell my businesses, I would go and, I would want to buy a store, like commercial buildings, and put storage units in.
Yeah.
Because that's a reoccurring transaction.
Mm-hmm.
People pay you every month for it, you know? If you own the building, you're not renting it. I mean, you're going to be taking home so much more. So, yeah, him, a few other friends of mine that I've just seen done very, very well. I look up to them. I try to go get advice from them just because, like I said, I'm on more of the same level as they are.
Yeah.
You know.
Another question was relationships, like personal relationships.
Sure.
How do you go about that? I don't know if you're seeing anyone or like dating
No, I'm
wise.
single. Yeah.
So, and were you ever in a relationship during the business?
Yeah, I was actually when I opened the business, I was in a relationship for about 5 or 6 years, and the business ended that relationship, and it was because I was constantly working and I didn't have somebody supporting me. You know, I had a lot of drama and a lot of issues with this person, and you know, she just didn't really. She needed something different. She needed somebody different. I don't think she needed a person that was on my level of the type of work that I was doing. Maybe more of a 9-to-5 guy. But yeah, it got pretty nasty. And I've been in and out of relationships in the last decade or so. But yeah, I mean, it's not. I don't think like the business affects it as much with other people. Me not being in one it's more me. Like I'm more of the problem. I'm not wanting to be in one because I'll get into one and I'll be like, okay, well, I'm in this now and I don't really. I want to be selfish and I don't want to like accommodate this person. So maybe because I don't love them, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I've definitely it's definitely more me than I don't think the business would really affect it. How about yourself?
Yeah, I've basically been doing this since 2015 of just like the been in a few. I'm in one right now.
Yeah.
It's interesting because with relationships, I think your partner definitely has to understand that like the business is the priority. Like it's you know, unless you're married and you have kids, I think it's kind of a different story where you should be able to, you know, balance both. But it's like this is just 24/7.
Yeah.
I got to be on it. And having someone that understands that, respects that, and like cheerleads for you on the side
100%
is the way to go.
It's so important to have that support and a person to give you that validation and everything. Like it's, yeah, I mean, if you have a person that's just complaining the whole time and not supporting you and just like asking you to like have someone else handle it.
Yeah. Like
it's like you don't want that person in your life, you know?
It just gets frustrating.
Yeah.
And honestly, it like causes resentment.
100%. 100%. Can't do this. And my dad told me, he was like, look, I really like her. She's a nice person. She's not a bad person, but she's like, you need a partner, not a project. Yeah. And yeah, it was like, I guess I'm scared of getting into something like that, you know? Yeah. Again, I don't want to, because that didn't happen until like years later. Things were good. Yeah. Until they weren't good.
How hard was it to break it off?
It was very difficult because I have a really hard time. Like I don't like hurting people. Like it hurts me to hurt somebody, and like I know what it feels like to have your heart broken and to be hurt, and watching someone else go through it because you created that, whether you should have or you shouldn't have. For me, it's a difficult thing. Yeah. And it was tough, man. Like I knew it was over for like a year, and it took a lot of courage for me to actually be like, you know, she brought up a break, and then I immediately used that as an opportunity to be like, you know what, maybe we should just break up and be done with it. Maybe our paths are different, and we just need to move on. Yeah, and it was tough, man. It was you know, the when I moved on was months later is when I saw her on Instagram. She had a boyfriend, and that's when I was actually really happy. Yeah. I was like, wow, that's like a weight lifted off my chest. Yeah. Now I can go be my own person. I'm free, bro. You know, like she drew first blood. Yep. So now like, it's like, so yeah, I was stoked.
And it's funny because when you're because I've been in that position, and when you're in that position, like people might think that, oh, you broke up, like it's fine. Like you're doing okay. But I'm sure after those months, it was like when you had broken up, those months following up is like, oh, this sucks, you know, because it's your person.
100%. It's somebody that you can call every day and talk to and not be, you know, like alone and they listen, you know, like
especially as a business owner.
100%. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely not easy, especially after like, 5 or 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long time. I get it. Like 6 months or a year or whatever it is not really, I guess, I mean, depending on how you feel about that person, but 5 or 6 years, like this is like somebody that like at the point in my life is like I wasn't really hanging out with a lot of my old friends.
Mm-hmm.
It was her, me and her, work, me and her, and then my fitness stuff or whatever. And like I had to go through and like literally create a whole new life after that, because my friends had kids, they were married. I didn't really want that in my life.
Yep.
And so yeah, like going through and like figuring out, like it's like, do you go back to all your old friends?
Yeah.
Like it's like I didn't really want to go and repeat that. Like it was, I don't know, it was weird.
That's funny because I'm at a point where like some of my old friends just kind of grown apart, so that like sucks a whole bunch. But
yeah,
it is interesting that you did have to start fresh. Dude. Because when you are in a relationship with 6 years, that's your best friend basically, right?
100%. Yeah.
So you are starting fresh, and that's great that you had that community. I'm assuming it was jiu-jitsu and the gym and all that stuff that you could then.
That decompression and that community that I created all the friends that I have in my life right now that are amazing. Like it's literally like that's how I met all of them. Like it was through the gym. Mm-hmm. It was through fitness, and my old friends, like, when I started dating this girl, like I deviated from it because they partied a lot. They were into like different things, and like they weren't into like what I was into, and I slowly was like trying to detach myself from that. And I still talk to these people. I still love them to death. They're still my good friends, but we don't have that much in common. And but yeah, like literally, like when I was single, like I was like, I need to go find. I like, wow, this is kind of lonely. Mm-hmm. And like, but I made it happen. It took some time, but you have to go put yourself out there, just like a business owner, putting yourself out there in a uncomfortable situation that you don't truly understand, and just going with it and seeing what happens. It's the same thing with friends. It's literally the same exact thing. Like it's like for an example, like when we go out and do our, like one thing that was really uncomfortable for me is like when I went out and did like these inspections for water damage inspections or whatever, showing up to a random person's house and knocking on their fucking door. Mm-hmm. Being like, hey, I'm here. Like nobody likes going and knocking on a random door. Do you?
No, not really.
It's
could
weird.
Be a challenge, though.
Isn't it kind of weird?
Yeah.
You don't know what you're gonna get. You're like, oh,
hey, with a shotgun.
Yeah, hey, what's up, man? It's like, oh fuck, who's gonna open that door? Mm-hmm. But it was the same thing with my friends. I remember I met this dude, and this is the guy that I was telling you about, the guy that I do look up to, that has that successful business that's a reoccurring transaction. Like he invited me to his birthday party. And
you met him through the gym?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I met him through the gym. Like I would see him at the gym, and then I ran into him at the coffee shop, him and his girlfriend, and we started talking. And I was like, "Oh wow, you're also a business owner? Like, like what do you like? This like we're shooting the shit." And he would see me in there all the time, and I was always on the phone, like running back and forth. And he's like, "What do you do? You're crazy, Yeah. He's like, wow, you work really hard. I'm like, yeah, it was fucking crazy. But he invited me to his birthday party. I didn't know anybody.
Yeah.
And I took a chance, and I went out to it. I showed up to this place. He wasn't even there.
Oh.
He was late.
And I didn't fucking
know anybody. And I walk into this like this bar and grill. I think it was like Barrel Republic or some shit. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, do you guys know so-and-so? Like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
Like, and I just started like talking to these random dudes, and like and then he shows up, and like, and then he just started inviting me to like different. He's like, oh wow, I didn't think you were gonna come.
Oh, sick.
And I was like, yeah, no, I said I would. I'm a man of my word.
Yeah. And
it's crazy. I met like my whole new friend group through him.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so that's why I hang out with like literally every day.
How is it? I feel like as guys, it's kind of hard to find friends sometimes.
I agree 100%.
And like, why is that?
I don't know. I think the older you get, the more difficult it is because you have more wisdom and and you just don't trust people as much. And you're like,
that guy's an asshole.
You're like, dude, like this guy's a fucking weirdo, man. seriously, like, like it's, you just got to put yourself out. I mean, it's weird. You almost have to be persistent with somebody in order to become like a good friend of theirs.
Yeah.
Because you just don't fully want to, and you don't really fully trust them. And like, it's just kind of weird. When you have a dude that's hitting you up that's super persistent, you're just like, are you like
a killer, bro?
Yeah. So I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
Or it just happens like organically. I don't know.
Yeah. Sometimes you do meet people where it's just like chopping it up and you're like, yo, what's up? What's up? And then, sometimes it just takes that one person just to be consistent of like, let's hang out. And then, sometimes you end up doing it.
Yeah. One of my best friends right now, he's a younger guy. He's like 26. I'm 39. We have a huge different age gap. But I saw him at the gym, and this is like a few years ago, and he was in like my station, and I can tell he didn't really know what he was trying to do, like the same type of training as me.
Yeah.
I could tell he didn't know what he was doing, and he would piss me off so bad. So I was like, why is this guy still here?
Yeah.
Like, and then I remember I got to the gym earlier so he wouldn't get into my like area that I train, and I could see him walking around in circles, like not knowing what he didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
He was so pissed off at me. So I went up to him and I was like, I saw him doing like this exercise, and he was using like the wrong equipment. Mm-hmm. I was like, hey, let me ask you a question. Like, why are you using that set of equipment?
Yeah.
Like what the fuck, and like, 'cause he just pissed me off, like for whatever reason. And he just looks at me and goes, bro, I don't know what I'm doing. I was just like, all right. And like, dude, every day after that, he would show up and want to train with me.
Yeah.
And he's like, I want to train with you. And I was like, this guy's fucking annoying, dude. and he kept showing up. And then eventually, dude, he was persistent. He pursued me, and I grew to love the guy, Now I love the guy. I talk to him every day,
That's awesome.
So, but yeah, it's just funny how you say that. It's just weird making friends with
It
kids,
is weird.
You just, I don't know.
You know
Way
what
easier when you're younger.
What I did notice was back in college, I was doing the whole like pickup. So I was like going up to random people, hey, what's up, like the chicks and stuff.
Yeah.
But the cool thing was that it transitioned to every aspect of my life.
100%.
So I think just being able to go up to anybody and be like, hey, how's it going? Because I remember I've always, it's okay for me to make friends. I'm not like terrible at it, but like I don't try. I'm like, leave me alone. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But when I was doing that, it was just chopping it up like with oh, what's up, dude? Oh, it's a sick guitar, and just like chopping it up. So
yeah,
I think just getting out of your comfort zone and just like what that guy did, that's hilarious. I have no idea what I'm doing, and just going up to you.
Yeah,
and like not giving a fuck.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. But I think that's like, but you were saying it translates to all aspects of your life, and especially in business. And it kind of goes back to like, why are people so comfortable where they're at and not wanting to achieve goals? It's like when you were in college, you wanted to meet friends. You were eager. I'm sure you wanted to go to like parties and do all this stuff and be a part of something more. Like I don't want to just go to class and fucking go to my dorm. Who wants to do that? You know? It's like, so you're like, I'm going to go and put myself out there. And I think it's important that we're constantly doing that. Literally every day in our life is putting ourselves out there in these weird situations and like being like, all right, like I might feel like an idiot, but I'm going to go do it anyways. You know, it's like when I first started doing hot yoga, like, dude, I didn't want to fucking go in there.
Yeah. That just sounds, I haven't done that. It sounds kind of,
I mean, dude, you roll in
by
and
yourself
like,
or?
Yeah, I was by myself.
That's uncomfortable.
Yeah. I mean, I went a couple of times with like friends before, but like, so I remember like, when I got really into it, I was trying to look for a new stress relief that was just not I'm like, I need to do something different. I need to expand into something different. And so like I was going to this one place and like, I don't want to sound like a dick or anything but there was a lot of old people there. Yeah. So I just didn't want to go. I was like, there's too many fucking old people. And like, it's just like not like, I'm not enjoying this. And like, there was this really cool yoga place in Encinitas. Okay. That all the girls went to, all the younger people went to. And I wasn't like that good at it. So like, I only did it a few times and I was like, I don't want to like look like an idiot. Yep. You know, like I just don't want to like it was weird. But then one day I just showed up and I was like, I'm here to do yoga, you know, like, so, and then I started going like 3 times a week. I got obsessed. Yeah. And I met people there. You know, I became friends with the owners of the studio. Like one of the main one of the main instructors that everybody likes. Like me and him got really close. It was just crazy. All this stuff like occurred and I didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
You know?
Getting comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because even you just saying that, it's like by myself, I'd be like, you know, or even like going to the first time to the gym, you know, like back in high school, it's like not knowing what you're doing. It's like, I don't want to do it, but just forcing yourself.
Yeah. Like when I walked into a jiu-jitsu school, man, like it was like, I didn't know anybody. I was like, going to get my ass beat.
I've been trying to get into that, by the way.
You should do it, dude.
Yeah, I really want to.
Yeah, dude, you got the body for it, but you're tall and stuff. Dude, you probably like literally just destroy people.
Yes. Okay, I'm gonna do it.
You know, like I mean, dude, it is like the best self-defense. I love doing it, man. My body's definitely broken from it because I've been doing it for about 17 years. But man, dude, does it build character and like when you know that you have the ability to defend yourself and you walk into a room and like the other people, they have no idea, they've never done it or whatever. And like the confidence that you have of knowing that you can protect yourself from literally like 99% of the people on the planet is just like, I can't even explain it, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
No, that's why I've been wanting to do it. 'Cause I feel pretty comfortable and confident with myself, but I know it's like that next level of like just defending yourself. 'Cause like as someone who doesn't do any martial arts or anything like that, I walk into a place or wherever, it's like I feel like I could do damage, but it's not that confidence, what you were saying. And I think that translates not only to your personal life but to business as well.
100%.
Like walking into a room and feeling good to go.
100%. It's crazy. You actually you get to know people by like, cause like, you know, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, like it's the closest thing to fighting. You know, when you're sparring somebody, when you're over there and you're grappling and you're trying to strangle somebody, or, you know, I mean, if they don't tap, then they're going to go to sleep. Or if they don't tap, if you put them in an arm lock, they can break their arm. And there's a lot of repercussions, but you have to be smart with it. But like, you'll go in there and you'll train with people that are like, you'll run into a guy that's like, oh wow, this guy's like a multi-millionaire and like he's successful in business and this and that. But like, I'm over here like strangling him and he's giving up really quick. Like it's weird. It's like you start to like question weird things. And
wow, that's interesting.
Yeah,
I never thought about that.
Yeah, but then there are guys that are like entrepreneurs that are like tough as fuck.
Killers.
You know? I wasn't, when I went in there, I was a fucking,
I was 17 years later and 3 franchises.
Yeah.
Now you're
it definitely helped, but yeah, it's a trip, man. But you go in there and you get to like, you just know, like, you see how tough and gritty people are. You know, you're like, oh, this guy's like, you know, this guy's like newer or younger. Like I remember there was like younger guys that I would train with, that were, well, they're about my age, and like in my 20s when I was like a purple belt, there was always these like talkers, you know, like social butterfly people that just talked about jiu-jitsu a bunch and this and that. They knew everything, and they just are always like, and like, look, they were doing their thing, learning techniques and enjoying it. But then you go and you put them in a situation. Like I remember I would go, there was this one particular guy I would train with, and like I was like a lot tougher than some of the guys in there. You know, I worked out a lot. I had a hard body. Like I just wasn't an easy person to train with. And like I would go and I would slap like these triangle chokes on this guy, and like I could see he's getting so pissed. He can't figure out a way to get out of it. It's just like, and he studies, like we're the same belt level. He studies this stuff like crazy, but he's just not that tough. It's like, look, dude, like you can go and learn techniques and be like a flaccid person, but like you have to get tougher. Like, you know, like it's like you can read books about businesses. It's like the same thing. You can read books about businesses and all this stuff and have all the answers to everything, but until you get in there and fucking do it, and like you can't handle it, then you're not made for it. You might know a shitload about it, and you could be like, oh, this and that, I can tell you this and that. It's like, well, let's see you do it now, you know? So yeah, it's weird running into people like that. You know, it's a trip.
Well, I'm definitely gonna do it now.
Yeah,
I've been waiting just because I was like routine and moving back here, but it's like there's no point in waiting. Just jump in.
What part of town do you live in?
I'm in Marietta.
Marietta. There's a lot of schools over there.
Yeah. Do you do gi or no gi?
I do. So I do a lot of no gi now.
Okay.
But I started off in the gi. and I trained gi for literally most of the time for 10 years straight.
Okay.
And now I've been doing a lot more no gi because it's easier on my joints. But I would recommend starting out with a gi first because it helps you with leverage. It's a lot funner in the beginning. It's just all kinds of different chokes and all different things. And you learn where it actually comes from. The basic fundamentals, true Brazilian jiu-jitsu, comes from the gi.
Okay.
And you learn that and then you branch out into no-gi, and then do a little bit of no-gi. No-gi it's very technical, but it's going to be a little bit on the more strength and rough side,
Yeah.
So
because I know because of Joe Rogan,
of course,
past 10 years and stuff, and he was talking about Eddie Bravo and stuff, and his 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh,
and that's something I was always leaning towards, but
yeah.
I heard it was more realistic when it comes to jiu-jitsu, where it's no gi, where you can.
Yes, no gi is 100% more realistic, and you're gonna use that in your everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
But even if you listen, I've heard Joe Rogan say this before, where people have wanted to try jiu-jitsu, and that's exactly what I just said right there. It's go out, do gi jiu-jitsu first. Maybe do no gi once or twice a week or once a week. Primarily start with gi and just figure out all the leverage and where it comes from, the beginning of it, and then or just do both.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I did. I was doing the first 9 months. I maybe did gi a dozen times, no gi a dozen times. And then as I got better and better, I got more into no-gi. And honestly, you just it's not really that big of a difference from transitioning.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's harder if you start off at no-gi and try to transition to gi. That's when you're gonna be oh fuck, this is way different.
Oh, wow.
But you can take off your gi and it's not you're still gonna know what to do.
Okay. Okay.
So. But yeah, I don't know, or do whatever you want,
Yeah.
Do whatever floats your boat, man. Everyone's different. That's what I would suggest. Whenever people ask me about jiu-jitsu, I always tell them start with the gi first. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, any last things you want to say? Advice on life? What's life? What anything?
I would just say is life's short. Time goes by really quick. And I would not hesitate on doing things in your life. I would not hesitate with whatever it is, business opportunities, traveling. If the opportunity presents itself, take it. If you think it's a good opportunity, take it. Don't ever go that's one thing that there's been situations in my life where I've regretted not taking certain opportunities and wondering where I would be at today without it. And you're 29, right?
27.
27. Fuck. Yeah, man. Just, take the opportunities and go travel and enjoy your life. And it's not all about just business and entrepreneurship, because at the end of the day, when that's over, it's going to be your personal relationships in your life. And that's what's going to be more fulfilling than everything. So I would say that would be my go-to advice.
Dylan, thank you so much, man.
Thanks for having me.
Taking out time from your business and everything, so I really appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
So thanks
for having me, man. It was great. I didn't really know what to expect from this, and I thought it was just a great conversation.
Sweet.
So, cool. Awesome.
Thanks, man.
All right, buddy.
Bye.
Hell yeah.
That was sick, right?
Yeah, no, man. Sometimes I feel like I'm talking too much.
No.
Just going off.
That's the goal. That's the goal. It's for you to be talking.
I never got